The Grand Hall of the Galactic Union glowed with gold light and echoing laughter. Thousands of alien leaders dressed in shining robes and military armor filled the massive chamber. Long tables floated in mid-air, filled with exotic food and drinks from across the stars. It was the most celebrated day in the galaxy. The fall of Earth Day. For 2 centuries, every empire marked this day with joy. It was the day humanity was declared extinct, the day their greatest enemy had finally fallen. The Supreme Chancellor of the Union, a tall insectoid named Zerath Kun, raised his glass high. His voice echoed through the hall. 200 years of peace. 200 years since the humans were wiped from existence. Let this be a reminder, no one can stand against the Union. The crowd roared in agreement. Across the hall, holograms showed burning cities, shattered ships, and broken human monuments. The aliens watched with satisfaction, as if each ruined image confirmed their safety. The Varn delegates, the reptilian warriors who led the final attack on Earth, stood proudly near the front. One of them bragged loudly, "I saw their last ship explode myself. There is nothing left of them, nothing but dust." Everyone laughed. But deep inside, Dr. Relkin, a quiet and nervous alien scientist, did not laugh. He was not like the others. His long gray skin shimmered faintly under the lights as he stared at the holograms. There was something wrong about celebrating destruction, even if it was an enemy's. Still, he stayed silent. Until the lights flickered, the laughter dimmed. A soft hum came from one of the large communication pillars at the center of the hall. Then a red warning symbol appeared above it. The hall grew quiet. A voice from the control room spoke through the speakers. "Chancellor, we are receiving an unknown transmission from Deep Relay Station 9. The Chancellor frowned. "What kind of transmission?" The technician hesitated. "It's DOLD, sir. The code is ancient. Human military distress signal." The hall fell silent. For a moment no one spoke. Then the laughter returned, nervous and forced. One ambassador chuckled. "It must be a recording. Some leftover data ghost. Delete it," but Dr. Relkin's heart was racing, his large eyes fixed on the hologram. "Wait," he said softly. "Play it." The technician nodded and activated the signal. A crackling sound filled the room, and static, faint, distant. Then a short tone. "Beep, beep, beep." 3 quick bursts repeating every 12 seconds. Zerath Kun crossed his arms. "A meaningless echo," he said. "The humans are gone." "This proves nothing." Dr. Relkin shook his head. "No, that signal pattern, it's wrong for a replay. It's too clean, too steady. That's not 2 centuries old static. That's live." Several generals turned to him. "Impossible," one hissed. Relkin looked pale. "I'm telling you, it's new. Someone is broadcasting that code now." The Chancellor's smile faded. He turned toward the technician. "Locate the source." The alien's hands trembled over the controls. "Signal origin. Deep in the grave belt, near the ruins of the last human fleet." The words struck the hall like thunder. The grave belt was forbidden space, filled with wreckage, radiation, and dead ships from the final battle. No life was supposed to exist there. "Send a scout ship," the Chancellor ordered. "Confirm this nonsense." The orders went out quickly, but the unease remained. The music never resumed. The laughter died. Dr. Relkin stood alone near the hollow table, staring at the repeating pulse of light. Beep, beep, beep. Hours later, reports came in. The scout ship had entered the grave belt. At first, everything was silent. The crew transmitted back debris scans, pieces of alien warships, twisted metal, drifting bodies. Then suddenly, the transmission changed. Static. A voice whispered through the noise. A human voice. "You shouldn't have celebrated." Everyone in the control center froze. The line cut off. Moments later, the scout ship's signal vanished completely. The Chancellor demanded answers. "What happened?" The technician's voice broke. "Ship destroyed, sir. No explosion detected. It just disappeared." Panic spread across the hall. Whispers filled the air. Some called it a trick. Others said it was a ghost, a leftover signal from the war. But Dr. Relkin wasn't so sure. He pulled up the last fragment of data from the scout ship's sensors. The hologram flickered, showing something enormous in the darkness. A shadowed shape larger than any alien vessel ever built. The letters on its hull were faded but still readable. ESS Retribution. A human battleship. Relkin's voice trembled as he stared at the image. That ship. It was destroyed in the last battle. It can't exist, but the data didn't lie. The ship was there, active, moving. He turned toward the Chancellor. If that ship is real, then humanity never fell. The Chancellor looked shaken. What are you saying, Doctor? Relkin's voice was cold now. I'm saying they're coming back. Outside in the darkness between stars, the ancient human ship drifted silently. Its engines glowed faint blue. A single human voice echoed inside its empty bridge. For 200 years, they celebrated our end. Let's remind them what survival means. And as the retribution systems came online, the galaxy unknowingly stepped into a new chapter, the unexpected war. The silence after the disaster was heavier than space itself. No one spoke in the grand hall of the Galactic Union. The glowing banners celebrating the fall of Earth Day flickered and went dark. For the first time in centuries, the Union felt fear. The Supreme Chancellor Zerath Kun stood frozen. His glass of golden drink shook in his claws. The scout ship is gone? He demanded. Yes, Chancellor, the communication officer said quietly. It vanished from all tracking systems, no debris, no explosion, just gone. Dr. Relkin stepped forward, his voice uneasy. Did you recover the last transmission? The officer nodded, replaying the recording. The hall filled with static and then the same human voice, cold and steady. You shouldn't have celebrated. Then silence. The Chancellor slammed his hand on the table. Fake, it must be fake. Someone is using old human codes to scare us. Relkan shook his head slowly, then explained the ship. The ESS Retribution was destroyed 200 years ago, but its signal, its reactor signature, is still active. No one could fake that. Not even us. The hall buzzed with whispers. Alien leaders argued, shouted, blamed each other. Maybe a human AI survived, or some other race found their technology. Or what if they're back? Those last words sent a chill through everyone. Zerath Kun's eyes glowed red. Enough, humans are gone. Even if a ship survived, it cannot threaten the Union. We have fleets across every system. We will find whoever is doing this and end it. But Dr. Relkin wasn't listening to the Chancellor anymore. His mind raced. He had seen something strange in the last scan. An energy trail leading deeper into the grave belt. Something massive, hidden among the wreckage. Hours later, in the darkness of space, the Union's second scout ship, the Zephyr, entered the grave belt. Its commander, Captain Vora, a veteran from the old war, looked uneasy. Keep weapons ready, she said. If humans are really out there, they won't show mercy. The ship's sensors swept the area. Broken ships drifted silently. The remains of the last battle between humanity and the Union. Radiation levels are normal, said the pilot. Nothing active nearby, but then a sound echoed through the comms into faint metallic, like a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. What is that? Vora asked. It's not a sound, ma'am, the technician said. It's an active energy pulse. Coming from dead human wreckage, the Zephyr moved closer. The wreck wasn't as dead as it seemed. Its metal hull glowed faint blue, and strange drones floated around it like ghosts. Then suddenly the lights inside the Zephyr flickered. EMP interference, shouted the pilot. Something's jamming us. Before they could react, the ship's holographic display changed. A new symbol appeared, a rotating blue circle with the ancient human emblem of Earth in the center. Then a voice filled the bridge. Calm. Human. Unauthorized vessel detected. Identifier be neutralized. Vora froze. Who are you? Earth Command. You are trespassing in restricted space. The crew looked at each other in terror. Vora shouted, Earth Command doesn't exist. Humanity is extinct. Incorrect, the voice replied. Humanity is observing, and you just found us. Before anyone could speak again, the hologram shifted, showing the ESS Retribution, no longer drifting, but fully active, its engines burning bright. Get us out of here, Vora screamed. The Zephyr turned sharply, engines at maximum thrust. But something followed them, fast, silent, impossible. A beam of blue light touched their hull, and the ship's systems died instantly. The last thing they saw was the human ship vanishing back into the shadows. Transmission ended. Ship lost, again. Back at Union Command, chaos broke loose. 2 ships gone, same location, same signal. Zerath Kun was furious. This is war, he roared. Mobilize the fleet. Destroy everything in that region. But Dr. Relkin stood up slowly. You don't understand, he said quietly. You're walking into a trap. If humans truly returned, they knew you'd react this way. The Chancellor glared at him. Are you suggesting we do nothing? I'm saying we learn, Relkin replied. We thought they were extinct. But what if they planned this? What if they wanted to be forgotten? The Chancellor ignored him. Deploy fleets to every border. The Union will not be mocked by ghosts. Relkan looked away, knowing it was already too late. 3 days later, across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. Union satellites failed without reason. Entire communication networks went dark. Space stations powered down. The galaxy was no longer calm. For 200 years, the Galactic Union ruled without fear. But now, 2 scout ships gone, strange human signals returning and whispers spreading through the stars, panic began to grow. Every world was talking about it. The humans, the ghosts that were never supposed to come back. The Supreme Chancellor, Zareth Kun, ordered fleets to every sector near the Grave Belt. Thousands of ships moved through the void, scanning every shadow, every asteroid, every echo of the past war. But they found nothing. No wreckage, no survivors, just silence. Dr. Relkin worked day and night in his research chamber. He was obsessed now. The signal that began all of this was more than a simple distress code. It carried data, coordinates, a sequence hidden deep in its pattern. He decoded the first one. It pointed to a small, forgotten system near the edge of Union space, Sigma 9, a system no one had visited in centuries. He took the results to the Chancellor. Sir, I believe the humans are not attacking yet. They're moving, quietly, rebuilding. The Chancellor glared at him. Rebuilding what? Relkin looked at the glowing coordinates on the holomap. Their fleets. And maybe Earth itself. The Chancellor slammed his fist down. Impossible. Their planet was destroyed. Relkin's voice was calm but cold. Then tell me, Chancellor, why do our probes keep disappearing near those coordinates? There was no answer. Finally, the Union sent an investigation team, led by Commander Sural, an experienced war veteran. He had fought against humans in his youth and believed them to be ruthless. Now, decades later, he was about to face their legacy again. The Union ship Vindicator dropped out of hyperspace above Sigma 9. The system looked empty at first. Just a dark sun, 3 rocky moons, and a broken mining planet. Scanners show no life signs, said the pilot. Sural frowned. Keep scanning. Humans never left empty space behind. The ship moved slowly toward the dead planet. The surface was covered in dust, ice, and twisted metal, old machinery from ancient wars. Then one of the crew members gasped. Sir, I'm detecting power signatures below the surface. Below? Sural repeated. How deep? 2 kilometers. It's faint but steady. Artificial origin, Sural's eyes narrowed. Send a probe. The small probe shot toward the surface. As it descended, the dust cleared and a shape emerged below. A massive structure buried under the planet's crust. The probe's camera adjusted, and there it was. A giant metallic entrance. Human design. The old emblem of Earth faintly visible across the door. United Terran Fleet Command. Sural's heart froze. Impossible, he whispered. Then the probe's feed went black. Connection lost, said the technician. Something's jamming us again. Before anyone could react, a new voice spoke through the ship's comms. Calm, human. You have come far enough. Everyone turned. The message had no source. It was inside the ship's own systems. Sural shouted, Identify yourself. You don't belong here, the voice replied. Leave now and live. The crew exchanged terrified looks. It's them, one whispered. It's the humans. Sural clenched his fists. Weapons online. Prepared to... But he never finished his order. The ship's controls flickered, screens went black, and every system shut down. Outside the viewport, the dust of the planet began to move. Something was rising from beneath the surface, slowly, silently. A massive metal platform emerged, shaking the ground. Then towering structures unfolded, glowing with blue light. It wasn't a ruin. It was a base, a hidden human facility, alive. Hundreds of drones flew out from the opening, scanning the alien ship. None fired, but all pointed their weapons. The voice returned. We warned you. Earth remembers everything. Then the transmission ended. The drones retreated. The base vanished beneath the dust, and the alien ship regained power. Sural's hands trembled as he stared at the sensors. They've been here all along. He quickly saved the data and jumped the ship back to Union space. At the Union headquarters, the council gathered again. The tension was thick. Everyone waited as Surel and Dr. Relkin presented their findings. Relkin projected the recordings of the human base onto the holoscreen. "There is no doubt," he said. "Humans have been hiding in the outer systems, building and preparing for years, maybe centuries." An ambassador shouted, "But why reveal themselves now?" Relkin looked up. "Because we're not supposed to find them. We didn't discover them by skill. They allowed us to see just enough." Zerath Kun leaned forward, his voice shaking. "Why would they do that?" "To warn us," Relkin said simply. "Before they strike." The hall went silent. The Chancellor's pride broke for the first time. "So, this is the price of celebrating their fall," Relkan nodded. "Yes. They let us believe they were gone while they watched and learned. And now they're reminding the galaxy who they are." Across the stars, strange movements were being detected. Invisible ships gliding through black space. Silent transmissions bouncing between old battlefields. And on forgotten planets, long-dead human colonies flickered to life. Machines whirred. Weapons reactivated. Soldiers, human and artificial, awoke from centuries of stasis. Everywhere, the same words echoed in the dark. "We never fell. We waited." That night, Dr. Relkin stood alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars. He whispered to himself, "They're not just rebuilding. They're coming home." He didn't notice the tiny blinking light near the edge of the station window, a small human probe watching him, recording everything. Far away aboard the ESS Retribution, the human captain watched the feed. "Another one found us," said his officer. The captain's voice was calm but cold. "Good, let them see. Let them fear what's coming." He turned toward the holographic map showing the galaxy, where red points marked every hidden human fleet. One by one, the markers lit up. The captain whispered, "The hunt goes both ways now." The light of the Retribution burned brighter, and the galaxy began to realize the terrible truth. Humanity wasn't returning for revenge. They were returning to reclaim everything. The galaxy had not known fear for centuries. But now fear ruled every world across the stars. Stories spread like wildfire. Stories of human ships seen in the dark, of stations shutting down by unseen hands, of the phrase that appeared across every comm screen, "We never fell. We waited." For the Galactic Union, this was more than just a mystery. It was a nightmare. Because the Union had celebrated humanity's destruction, now it seemed humanity had survived long enough to remember. The Supreme Chancellor, Zerath Kun, held an emergency meeting in the Union War Chamber. The great circular hall buzzed with noise as generals, admirals, and ambassadors argued over what to do. One shouted, "We must strike first. Destroy everything near those human coordinates before they gather more strength." Another countered, "You fool! If we attack them again, it will only prove their point. We'll start another war we can't win." Dr. Relkan stood at the center, surrounded by the chaos. His voice was calm, but it carried a weight that silenced the room. "Listen to me," he said. "The humans are not attacking us, not yet. They could have destroyed our fleets already, but they didn't. They're showing us their power and warning us." Zerath Kun's eyes narrowed. "Then tell me, Doctor, why reveal themselves at all?" Relkin paused. "Because they want us to remember something we forgot." Hours later, deep within Union intelligence archives, Dr. Relkin searched through forbidden files, old war logs from the final battles against Earth. Many were erased, others sealed. But one file caught his eye. Operation Ashfall. He opened it. The file revealed something horrifying. The destruction of Earth had been a lie. The Union's final attack never reached the planet. Instead, the human fleet triggered something, a massive energy field around their solar system. All sensors showed Earth destroyed, but the readings were faked. The humans had cloaked their entire homeworld inside a barrier of light. Earth hadn't died. It had disappeared. Relkan's voice trembled. They hid an entire planet. He downloaded the file and rushed to the Chancellor's quarters. "Sir, you need to see this." Zerath Kun read the data, his face turning pale. So the legends were true. They didn't fall. They hid themselves from the galaxy. Relkan nodded. They wanted to vanish, to make us forget. And while we were laughing at their ashes, they were rebuilding behind the veil. The Chancellor's voice cracked. "And now they're coming back." Relkan looked at the stars outside the window. "Noticing they never left. Meanwhile, far beyond Union borders, inside the shadow of a dying star, the ESS Retribution led a small convoy of human dreadnoughts. Their engines burned dim blue, their hulls dark and scarred, ghosts of a war everyone thought had ended. Captain Adrian Voss stood on the bridge, watching the holographic galaxy before him. Red icons marked Union fleets spreading in panic. Green icons marked human stations, unhidden, active, awake. His officer, Commander Ray, spoke softly. "They know now. The Union has discovered Sigma 9. They know we're back." Voss nodded slowly. "Good, let them remember what they created." She hesitated. "Sir, should we begin the first strike?" He turned to her, his expression cold. "No, not yet. Let them see us first. Let them feel what fear truly is." Back in Union space, the panic reached the streets. Civilians whispered that human ghosts were walking among them. Some said entire stations had been found empty overnight. Lights still glowing, food still on the tables, but no one inside. The Union began broadcasting messages across all systems, claiming peace and control. But no one believed them anymore. Then came the echo. Every major commune. The galaxy didn't sleep that night. Across every world, across every colony, one message burned on the skies. "This is Earth, we remember." No one knew what it meant. No one knew what would happen next. But everyone, from miners on cold moons to generals in their war rooms, felt it. The humans had returned. In the Union's capital world, Varian Prime, chaos ruled. Crowds filled the streets, chanting, arguing, fearing. Some demanded peace. Others screamed for war. Rumors ran wild. Some said human ships were seen near the outer systems. Others that human operatives had already infiltrated the government. Inside the Great War Chamber, the Union's leaders gathered again. Their voices echoed in panic. "We must retaliate," one admiral shouted. "Destroy their fleets before they move deeper." "Retaliate with what?" Another yelled. "Half our systems are blind. The humans hit our relays with precision." They knew where our command centers were. Chancellor Zerath Kuhn slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Enough." The room fell silent. He turned to Dr. Relkin, whose eyes had not left the star map glowing before them. "You studied them the most, Doctor. What do they want?" Relkin's voice was quiet, almost sorrowful. "They don't want peace, not yet. They want us to remember the war the way they remember it." The Chancellor frowned. "And how is that?" Relkin slowly looked up. "As genocide." Light years away, in the cold black between stars, the ESS Retribution and its fleet drifted in silence. Human dreadnoughts, massive, angular, and scarred, moved like a tide. They didn't roar. They didn't broadcast threats. They simply appeared and worlds trembled. Captain Adrian Voss stood at the center of the bridge, watching his officers track Union responses. Admiral Kuhn has moved Fleet Group Delta toward the Tura system, Commander Ray reported. 37 capital ships, 200 escorts, Voss nodded. "Let them come. The more they gather, the louder their fall will echo." He turned to his communications officer. "Send word to the fleet. Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2. The officer hesitated. "Sir, Phase 2 means—" Voss's eyes hardened. "Yes, it's time the Union saw what Earth has become." At that moment across the galaxy, strange things began happening. In the abandoned ruins of former human colonies, long thought to be dead worlds, massive underground doors began to open. Beneath the sands of Rhea 9, towers rose into the atmosphere, releasing drones that shimmered like living silver. On the icy moon of Valis, human satellites that hadn't sent a signal in centuries suddenly reactivated. Entire systems once marked lost began to pulse with human energy signatures. Within hours, nearly 100 worlds lit up with the same signal. EarthNet reconnection, active. The galaxy watched in awe as ghost worlds came alive. On Varian Prime, Dr. Relkan watched the data streaming in, his eyes wide. "They were here all along," he whispered. "Sleeping under our feet, building beneath the ruins we claimed as ours." Chancellor Zerath Kuhn growled. "They hid their weapons in our territories." "This is invasion." Relkan shook his head. "No. It's reclamation." He zoomed in on one of the Feedar, an ancient human city rising from beneath alien-built structures, tearing through steel and stone like it was reclaiming its place. Every system connected by the humans' hidden network, began to broadcast the same phrase. Humanity endures. Far from any world, the Retribution entered the Tura system, the first Union fleet already waiting for them. Thousands of alien ships filled the void, their cannons armed, their commanders shouting orders. Human fleet detected, 17 Dreadnought-class signatures. Targeting now! But before a single Union ship could fire, the humans moved. The Dreadnoughts split formation, each one unleashing a ripple of invisible energy. Union ships lost power instantly. Weapons, shields, engines, everything went dark. The Tura fleet drifted helplessly as the humans surrounded them. Then, on every Union bridge, the same transmission played. Captain Voss's calm voice. This isn't conquest. It's correction. For every world you burned, for every life you erased. You told the galaxy we vanished. But we were listening. We learned. No human ship fired, not one. And yet, when their systems came back online, the Union fleet found all their navigation drives erased. Their data wiped clean. They couldn't jump. Couldn't retreat. The message was clear. You're not ready to fight us. Back in the war chamber, the reports poured in. Entire fleets neutralized without a shot fired. Worlds broadcasting human messages. Civilian networks hijacked by something called Project Eden, a human AI network that once governed Earth's defense grid. Dr. Relkin studied the data, pale as moonlight. They've rebuilt Eden, and they've connected it to their fleet. We can't outthink them anymore. Zarath Kun slammed his fist. Then we end it now. Gather everything we have. Every fleet, every ship. We strike Earth directly. The generals nodded nervously. Relkin's eyes went wide. You fool. You don't even know where Earth is. They cloaked their system from the galaxy for 6 centuries. You'll be marching blind into their trap. But the Chancellor was beyond reason. We will not bow to extinct ghosts, he shouted. Meanwhile, on the Retribution, a holographic projection of the Union's final command fleet appeared. Ray turned to Voss. They're mobilizing. Looks like they're coming for us. Voss stared quietly, hands clasped behind his back. Good. They should see what they're running toward. He gave one final order. Prepare the veil. Bring the Sol Gate online. Every human dreadnought's engines shifted from blue to white. Energy flared across their hulls as space itself began to twist. A massive ring-shaped wormhole formed ahead of them, pulsing like a living sun. Through it, for the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw the light of the Sol system. The voice of Earth Command echoed through every frequency. We hid our home to survive your war. Now, we open it to end your empire. The wormhole stabilized, revealing a breathtaking sight. Earth, blue and bright, but around it, orbiting like silent titans, were thousands of new stations, defense grids, and dreadnoughts. Humanity hadn't just rebuilt. It had evolved. The old Earth fleets were gone, replaced by Eclipse-class warships, sleek and massive, each carrying weapons no alien had ever seen. Captain Voss smiled faintly. Welcome back to where it all began. The Union fleet watched from the other side of the wormhole, paralyzed. They had expected ruins. Instead, they saw the heart of a civilization more advanced than anything they'd ever known. Dr. Relkin stood aboard a Union command cruiser, whispering as he stared into the wormhole. They didn't come to destroy us. They came to remind us what we tried to erase. In the silence of the void, the human dreadnoughts began to move, and slowly, deliberately, through the Sol Gate. Their engines flared like dawn, breaking through darkness. Each step forward was a message. Humanity had returned to the galaxy, not as prey, not as legend, but as the storm that memory forgot. The last transmission before the gate closed was short, calm, and terrifying. This is Earth Command. Phase 2 complete. Phase 3 begins at dawn. Silence. That was the first thing that filled the galaxy after Earth's voice faded. For days, no one spoke. No war fleets moved. Even the Great Galactic Union hesitated, afraid of what would happen next. Then the Sol Gate, the massive wormhole leading to Earth, opened again. And this time human ships came through. The first to emerge was the ESS Retribution, its hull glowing with lines of white light. Behind it followed hundreds of dreadnoughts, cruisers, and carriers, ships so large they cast shadows on planets as they passed. Every alien world watched in silence. No threats, no broadcasts, just a quiet march of power. On the capital world Varion Prime, the skies filled with holographic screens showing the incoming human fleet. Some aliens fell to their knees in fear. Others whispered, "They've come to finish us." Inside the Grand Hall, Chancellor Zarath Kun shouted orders at his generals. "Activate every defense. I want our entire fleet in orbit before those humans reach us." But Dr. Relkin stepped forward, calm and grim. "Chancellor, if they wanted to destroy us, they would have done it already." Zarath glared at him. "Then why are they coming here?" Relkin looked out the window at the approaching ships. "To remind us what we did." In orbit, the Retribution halted above Varion Prime. Captain Adrian Voss stood on the bridge, silent. The planet below glowed with city lights, alien towers built on the ruins of once human colonies. Ray, his first officer, spoke quietly. "Transmission channels are open, sir," Voss nodded. "Send the message." Across every world, on every screen, every speaker, and every device, one voice echoed, "This is Earth Command. 2 centuries ago you celebrated our extinction. You erased our name from your histories. You took our worlds and called them yours. But we endured. We rebuilt. And today, we speak again." Every alien leader froze. Every citizen stared. And then the message continued. "We do not come to conquer. We come to show you what survival means." Human ships began to move, not toward cities or military targets, but toward memory vaults, record stations, and communication hubs. The dreadnoughts released swarms of silver drones that entered these facilities silently. Within minutes, the galaxy's archives changed. Every record that had been erased about Earth, the wars, the treaties, the sacrifices, was restored. Videos appeared of human soldiers fighting beside alien allies, dying to protect their worlds. The truth humanity had been denied for centuries returned. In the Hall of Records, the Union's historians wept. Their lies were burning away, but